People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Can I Get Some podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Damien, and I know it's been a while, but people have been asking me when I'm going to come back, and here I am again. You know, I'm probably the fakest podcaster you ever going to meet, but I really enjoy like hanging out and talking to people. So I'll come back with I'm coming back today to give y'all a little bit of piece of what I've been going through and what I've been doing over the last couple of months, what have you. And I've been blessed to have some really good guests with me today. First of all, I want to introduce the people who kind of rock with me know this cat right now. He's I've been on his podcast quite a bit, and you know, they have always him and the other gentleman that just popped up, the Genius. How you doing, Genius?
What up? What you
got it. So I just want to thank everybody for coming by. I just want to introduce my man. Everybody give some love, show some love to my guy, the Sophisticated Jerk. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me over here.
Now, this lovely young lady that we got right now, it's funny because I said it jokingly, but anybody who knows me knows true. She very much resembles my ex-wife. So I was like, and she, but that's not the reason why I got bring her on here. That's because she usually has some great things to say on the podcast that I've been on there. She is just has great energy, and I think she has a lot of good stuff to impart. So I just want to give it up to Miss Nikki True. How you doing, Miss True? How you doing? All right, now I want to give it up to this lovely young lady. She is just a all-around Jane of all trades. She's a podcaster. She does mortgages. She does all kinds of stuff. She's just a woman that just lives a dope, exciting life, and I think she has a lot of stuff to add to this show. So I knew I wanted to have her on when I was thinking about having this subject because I feel like she just got a lot of stuff to add. Everybody, give it up to the lovely and talented Miss Jessica. All right, ladies, it's about to get sexy in here. We got the bronze Adonis up in his place, Mr. Manic Genius. I'm sure if you go to his IG page, you'll catch a picture of him shirtless, flexing for you.
With the baby oil on.
You know, got baby oil.
No baby oil yet.
I just want to give a shout to this guy. He's a really intelligent man. I really like having conversations with him. His perspectives are really something that make you think. I just wanted to show some love to the Manic Genius in the house. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's jump right into it, everybody. The topic of today is what happens when a party over. The way this topic came about was I'd be on all these podcasts and we'd have all these discussions about body count and party life and people doing stuff like OnlyFans and sex work and stuff like that, and dudes who are players and hustlers and stuff like that. And then they want to know, is it possible to like leave that kind of life behind and like really build a life of significance and substance? I feel like, I've successfully done that. I'm not one of those hosts who doesn't give a little of themselves. So let me tell you a little bit about me. When I was younger, I was heavy into like the club scene. I became a club goer, made friends with all the promoters, started promoting lightweight, then really started promoting heavy, then had my own night at a couple of different spots or what have you. And throughout that, things started just getting really wild for me. Everything that comes along with clubbing and being in that scene was a part of my life, whether it be drugs, whether it be sex, whether it be just like anything and everything that any toxic behaviors that isn't conducive with like a long-term and happy life. And then we came to a point where I really wanted something different. I was convinced that I wanted something different, but I never really committed to it. And because I didn't commit, I did end up getting married and still had the party life as a part of my life. And I just that marriage didn't work. Ended up getting divorced, and then I really had to like take a step back and kind of figure out what is the way that I can move that's going to give me the best possibility and the best likelihood of a long-term happy life. So this is kind of some of the things that I've done, and I've talked to other people they've done in order to like make sure they can kind of really divest from the wild shit that may have been a part of their lives, and you know they can kind of keep it behind them and just focus on what's possible for them in the future. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. You know, I think everybody has a story, what have you. I know that Miss True was saying she knows it well. So kind of want you to tell a little bit about yourself, you know, where you're from, where you're at, and if you have any direct stories or anything related to the topic.
I have a lot of stories on that topic, but so I am originally from the Bay Area. I would say South Bay Area mostly, so San Jose. And I really actually got my start in, of all places, Pleasanton, California. I don't know if anyone even knows where that is, but I started with the promoting, and then I ended up being in bottle service, and I did that for, gosh, I think over about 10 years. About 10 years, bottle service, promoting, throwing my own parties, not only in California, but in Vegas. And now I am living in the upper desert in California on a 2-acre ranch. So I think everything is
Raising chickens
around raising chickens, lots and lots of chickens. Yeah. So I think I've seen it all. So I just like you, I've tried to have relationships in that era, and also failed with that miserably. So this is where I'm at now.
Good for you. How about you, Jack? Were you a party dude? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Were you a huge party dude, or you was just super focused on getting to the bag and making shit significant for yourself?
Oh man, I was a big party dude earlier on. So just to give my background, like when I was younger, definitely, like I said, hung out with a bunch of hustlers. So, you know, the party scene in New York definitely was in all the like VIP sections, Palladium, Tunnel, some of the Latin quarters. So I used to go to all them spots. So definitely had a heavy party background. But eventually, you know, I end up getting tired of, you know, kind of getting the burnout that comes with that scene. And, you know, even just a lot of people that were getting locked up, killed. So I ended up going into the military, then started doing even more partying. You know how that goes, Dane. Then eventually I was like, when I got out, that's when I was like, okay, you know what? I got to get my stuff together. Been partying for too long now. It's been a good decade now. So started getting focused, started getting, you know, on that path of success. But nah, before that, was a wild child.
I can believe it. All right. How about you, Jessica?
Sorry, I was trying to come off mute. I think I'm probably going to have, mine's been a very backwards and interesting story. So I'd lived all over. I'm from Philly. By the time I was 18, left, went to college in Hawaii and worked my ass off. But I was always in the kind of in the electronic scene. I discovered that in England when I was 11. And, but I always was really balanced. And then when I got divorced in my late 30s is probably when I was just like, I'd worked. And I wouldn't say crazy. And then adopted my son. And then he got to a certain age and I'm like, I'm divorced. And then I had a 7-year relationship. So I was in and out of the scene, but I traveled up and down the East Coast when I was in my early 20s, opening Hooters. Got to do crazy things like meet celebrities, go on, monitor girls on Howard Stern, you know, just privy to a lot of things, fortunate to be balanced, but saw everything, then bartended, ended mortgage, building my network. So, and still, when I say in the scene, I'll explain that later on, but I think I've always been able to balance. I love music. I don't think it will ever not be a part of my life. But I've managed to raise an excellent son, and, but also have seen where people just go way off. People die. I mean, it can be rough life.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Genius?
Where did I start? My parents were military, so got a chance to travel around the world and see some different places. Lived in countries, Japan, Turkey, and just a little bit of Europe. Uh, I always hung out with an older crowd. Even I play basketball. As a freshman, I hung out with seniors and, members of the varsity basketball team, and very influenced. And topic of discussion in high school was always women. So I kind of just like normalized just this ideology of, the more the merrier, and, partying. And by the time I graduated high school, I had a lot of experience just being an athlete, and then and just partying up. But my parents, they kept a pretty tight leash on me, so I didn't do anything too crazy. When I went off to college, I went to Arizona State on an engineering scholarship, um, and that was the number 2 party school at the time. And it was just, I seen a lot. But I mean, it was nothing too crazy. But I was definitely one of those people that were kind of like trying to be like the life of the party. So it's just like, hey, if somebody's doing something stupid, I'm probably gonna do something a little more stupid, just like to one up it. And obviously I got invited to all the parties, and was accepted by every frat, except for the ones where I was, just a little too wild, and kind of dealing with their women. So, but it's life. I never really looked at it like, this person belongs to somebody. It's just that was my mentality back then. Obviously that didn't work out, partying way too way too damn much. So I moved back to the East Coast, and I went to a community college where I met a woman that I got married to, and we were together for 3 years before we got married. So I had hung my jersey up, and it was in the rafters, and I was good. We were married for 8 years before I filed for divorce. I just have like a set of standards that I feel that your wife should be a representation of you. And it's a lot, but it's the same expectations and standards that I set for myself, that I set for her. And it's a lot, so I'm difficult to deal with. As if I talk more, you guys will understand.
Nah, we wouldn't even think that. Not from
you. Yeah, I don't tolerate disrespect. So I mean, I
want to give some
divorce. So. It's crazy because when I got married.
Damn, what is this, a tell-all?
Well, let him talk. Let the man.
I'm a land plane.
He got the right.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I seen how dating was before the internet, like before social media like took control, and it was super easy. Yeah. And then after being married for 8 years, 12 years out of the game, it was a completely different ball game. Like everything is in apps now, and like it's just a completely different playing field. And it's sad because the connections are a lot less, or they're more surface level nowadays. But in that same light, it makes it a lot easier too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I admit I'm a piece of shit. So it's a lot easier for me to navigate the dating market.
What they say, the first step to not being a piece of shit is to recognize that you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. I'm doing well. I mean, I'm doing well. Yeah.
Damien,
What's up?
I think too, when we talk about this past life or current life, I like what you said about mutual respect. Whenever I've been in relationships, I think people that come out of our lifestyle and get into those relationships sometimes are often more loyal because we've seen so much, right?
Yeah.
And we do show respect. I think the second thing I would always say, and I think this is the energy I bring from to my friends that are 25 all the way, I told you, one of them 76, one of my best girlfriends, and is that as much as we think it's such a bad thing in the past and we've come out of it, what a blessing, because you experience so much more in a lifetime when you go out and I call us the fun havers of the world. I'm like, I'll always be a fun haver. I'll always have that side of me that likes to have fun. And that doesn't have to be associated with bad, right? I think we live on a different level.
I agree.
Experience on a different level. Maybe that's a better word.
Let me show some love to the chat real quick. I want to get up for Potter. She's the one who's been, I think we've been on Will's channel with her. I just want to show some love.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming through. I am the single one. Now, this is a dope. If you live in Chicago and you need a realtor, this is the woman to get with. She knows her shit. So I just want to show some love to her. And we always got to show love to Fatty. What's up, Fatty?
What's good, Fatty?
Anybody wants some really interesting, funny, just irreverent content, you got to go to see Team Fatty. Team Fatty is going to have the cool, the fun content for you. And Kasim, if anybody want to know how to dress, go to Kasim. He's like a top tier when it comes to like fashion and stylists and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. And just got jumped on Miss Monica Daniels. This person is near and dear to my heart. She is actually my cousin, and I love her, and I appreciate her coming through and showing some love. All right. In every story of like this, there's always like that tipping point. And I'll start off with what my tipping point was, where I knew where I started to make it to fix my mind that I needed to make a change if I really wanted something significant. I was talking to an old Air Force buddy of mine. He settled down, married, what have you, couple of kids. And I'm just telling about this wild ass night that I have. And he seemed, he was like, going along with, seemed unimpressed. But then I was like, yeah, but someday, I want to be like you, dude. I want to settle down, have a wife, maybe some kids or something like that. And just, just have a real, just chill life. And he was like, man, you don't seem like it. He was like, you ain't doing shit to make it to where, any woman who's like trying to live like that is going to look at you and think you the guy to do it with. And I was just like, dang, that stuck with me. I was convinced, but I wasn't committed to it. So that was the day that I really start doing stuff to show my commitment to like really changing some shit. Like what I did, right? That was on a Friday night, and I had to go out with some of my friends of mine the next day on a Saturday night. And I said, okay, tonight I'm not going to drink nothing. I'm going to go out there, not drink, not do anything, and see if I even what's the difference. I realized I didn't like none of them cats. I did like none of the people. I couldn't stand them. I was like, these people were annoying as shit. Everybody's falling over each other. Everybody's trying to hook up with each other. I need to get away with this. And that's where I kind of started the on the path of like trying to change something, and I'll get to how some of the things I did in order to make that happen. And so yeah, I'll go to you, Miss True. Was there like a tipping point where you were just like, I need to make a switch up?
Oh, yeah. I would have to say when I had my son, because if any of you guys have children, they are up at the crack of dawn. If you work in the club industry, you go to bed at the crack of dawn. So I'm like, no, we got to get on better schedules. The reason I stayed in it too, also when he was younger, is because I actually got to spend the whole day with him. I didn't have to leave him until I was ready for him to go to bed. So it worked out for a little while because in a sense, was a stay-at-home mom where he was concerned. So he was asleep in bed, no idea. Now, as he got older, you know, then I decided I had to make some changes because I also want him to be proud of me as a mom.
Yeah.
You know, and who knows what anyone else is, you know, the mom at the PTA is going to be like, oh, there goes Miss True, right? So, and I was really tired. I was working in San Francisco and driving back home to Sacramento at night.
Wow.
So you don't just get to go home at 2 when everyone else leaves.
Which club were you working at? I'm curious.
Oh my gosh. A few.
Okay.
How far is that drive? I'm not.
It was a drive, and if I was
hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
at night.
And then and then if you've ever had that drive, it's kind of scary at night. And then you're like, well, you know, you can't drink. You're driving that long and
windy roads and
fog. It's 2 a.m. It's not a good scenario. So that's when I really decided to hang up my coat and join the 9-to-5ers.
What did you join, or what type of job?
I am in insurance.
Okay, that's cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's and I say 9 to 5, but it's more like 8 to 7. And I do accident claims.
Oh, really? I was insurance when I left the military. I was an insurance agent. I worked for a broker in Hayward. So
I had my broker's license also at one point.
Oh, really?
It's not fun. Not the accident part, anyway. Being in claims isn't fun, but it pays the bills.
Yeah. I just want to share some love to the man who probably brought us all together. What's up, Will?
It's good, Will.
Appreciate you coming through.
Ill Will.
How you doing, brother? You're like, if you want to jump on, let me know, man. I'll shoot you the link. You can jump on at any time. You got carte blanche. All right. I'm sorry to introduce you, Nikki. I'm going to interrupt you, Nikki. What you call it? What about you, Jerk? I know you said a bunch of your friends was getting killed or went to jail or something like that. What was there a specific incident where you're like, yeah, I got it. This shit ain't the way anymore?
Yeah, I think it was honestly a buildup because, you know, like you were saying, I got away from that situation. So went into the military, but I went in like infantry because I didn't really have too many plans. So, you know, I should have probably went into like IT or something, but I was like, oh, let me be a soldier. Let me get the college money and all that. So I did that for about 5 years, but, you know, I knew I had to do something different, but you know, didn't have that self-esteem and stuff to, you know, pinpoint like, oh, I should go into engineering and stuff like that. So I was just, at first I was one of those people like, oh, I'm not going to college, you know, kind of using that as my excuse. Oh, college ain't for everybody. So, you know, I was just prolonging it. Then eventually I went overseas when I got out the military and I was doing like, you know, security type stuff over there, you know, and one mission that we went out on, it was like convoy security. You know, we got ambushed and, you know, our whole, you know, convoy was like shot up. So I remember we went back, you know, to the rear, you know, after everything was done, we got everybody back. And I was looking at like we had Range Rovers that were like bulletproof and, you know, it's all like shot up. Then the guys that were with me, they're all high-fiving. They're like, yeah, you know, they're all have the adrenaline. They're like, yeah, man. I'm like, man, we almost died. What are we happy for? You know, I was like, at this point, I need to get up out of this. I was like, yeah, I need to change the scenery because like where I was sitting in a Range Rover, it was like, if we didn't have that plate in the side, yeah, I would have been like pretty much dead and stuff. So it was just, you know, constantly that type of stuff coming from infantry. I was like, look, I got to go to school. I got to, you know, make some changes because I was like, hey, this is just too much. Like I said, coming from back home then to this type of stuff, I was like, all right, man, I just got to hunker in, go to school, stop making excuses and get it done. So that was pretty much that turning point. Like I said, they was high-fiving. They're like, yeah, man, we made it. Woo. I was like, man, we almost died. What are we happy for? Yeah. So that was the transition point.
All right, I want to show some love. I want to say what's up, Tommy B, my fellow Bay Area cat. This is a solid cat right there. If you ever see him on the panel, you know, it's at least one solid cat on that panel. So shout out to my man Tommy B.
Yeah, he's well balanced, man. I like his perspective.
Yeah, that's the Bay.
Yeah, man. Y'all are balanced, man. I give y'all that, man. Bay dudes, man.
All right. What about you, Jessica? Do you have any tipping points where you, because like you said, did you have like a real like situation where it was like kind of like getting a little bit out of hand? But you seem like you always like to manage it pretty well.
I did. So like I said, I was opening Hooters that went into tech sales, and then out of that in 99 started doing mortgage. So through my 20s, I worked pretty hard, adopted my son. I would go out, don't take me wrong. And then when I got divorced in my mid 30s, it was pretty traumatizing. And, you know, I got back in the scene. My son was at an age where, and we share custody. We had a really good balance with my son. So when he was around, you know, of course, you know, when my time, we lived close to each other. I tried to show him the best, you know, not that side, I guess is the way to say. And I think in '09, I always look back at my son and I joke about it because he's like, you're way too hard on yourself. I'm like, I am the worst mom because one day and it's so unlike me, I think it was '09, but anyway, I didn't go pick him up from his dad. Like I was like, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not this person. I hold myself in high regard. I live to a certain standards. You know, my parents weren't the greatest, but they taught me well. And that was eye opening. And I think a lot of I say out of control partying, just, you know, I was always fun, but like way too drunk and like just, some of the things I did, I wasn't proud of, but I was doing to self-sabotage on purpose, kind of like self-punishment in a way now. And so I think, and then I got in a 7-year relationship and he was a lot like me, but we, you know, got a house, had a boat. We had, you know, such a good life. When I came out of that, because of what I'd gone through before this time around 2 years ago, I said, I'm going to feel the pain. I'm still going to have fun, but I'm not going to party through it. I'm not going to date through it. Read into that what you will. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to heal the pain. And so that's where I found balance through my own podcast and healing that pain and now being able to balance that. But yeah, it was around that when I got divorced the first time, that was rough. And I was not proud of that person, but I'm glad I was that person because it made me so much better today in some of the things to reflect on. And my son and I have an open dialogue about it really. And it's kind of cool because some of the things I did, I'm like, hey, listen, I've been there, and he knows I've been there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think he's well balanced because of that. And we have an authentic relationship versus I'm like, well, this is bad. Well, of course it is. Everybody says it's bad, but we can actually have real conversations. And some of them are rough with a kid. You're like, but they're real.
Yeah. You can speak from experience. It's just like, it's not all anecdotal, not all theory, and it's practice. And that's the thing that, you know, but that's the thing I struggle with. It's like, how much am I going to tell my daughter? You know, I was like, I cannot tell her the too much.
Well,
you know,
and I listen to my podcast. So, I mean, I had to call him when I did my podcast. I said, hey, this is what we talk about. This is what goes on. I mean, it gets deep. And he's like, Mom, I love who you are. You are who you are. And you raised me to be a good man. And he's like, I love that. So it paid off to be authentic, but they're not easy conversations.
Yeah. All right. I just want to give some shout out to all the people watching on IG. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for showing love. All right. What you going to say, Jerk?
Yeah, I was just going to say something to Jessica. I think that's real big that you cleared it with your kid. Because I think a lot of times, you know, I know Dame and Manic, we're on Will's channel and we call it Masculine Mindset. But we be talking a lot about people that just jump out there, do stuff and, you know, don't take it in consideration, like how things will impact their kids. So now I thought that was dope that you like got that feedback from them before you know, jumped out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm proud of the mom I am now. I haven't always been proud, but I think that's part of parenting. And when we can admit that and be that parent, we're such better parents. But that came by trial and error, and you know. But thank you. I appreciate that.
I think by even feeling that way, that you're not up to where you would want to be as a parent, shows how much you do care as a parent.
Exactly. You can never do enough.
You can never do enough. So the fact that you even care to say that, to explain to him or to feel that way, shows how much you actually care and love your son. Because I feel the same way. Yeah, absolutely. And we're way harder on ourselves than anyone else could be. So
I brought him on my podcast, and it was interesting. And we talked about me as a mom and like him as a son. And he's like, sometimes you're crazy, but you're an awesome mom. It was a great episode. And it's good for me to get to go back and watch and be like, this is so cool, full circle, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Before you go to you, Genius, let me just show some love to Lauren. Appreciate you stopping by, Lauren. I was on a panel with her on Sunday. She's a dope woman. So I appreciate you coming through and showing some love. All right. How about you, Genius?
What was the question again? Specifically?
It was like, was there a tipping point, like when you were wilding out kind of party to the degree that you were wilding out? Was it a tipping point where you were just like, I got to pull it back a little bit. You know, this may end in some bad shit for me if I don't really try to rein this in.
It wasn't really one tipping point. It was just like several events that, but honestly, I was kind of already out of that phase of wilding out. There was a major life shift for me. It's when I decided to switch my major from engineering to finance, because I realized I like money. That was the proponent of engineering that I liked the most, like math and money. Finance. I had talked to some people and had some insight on future jobs and career fields that could make more than where I was headed towards. So I switched my major and went back home to a community college. And I was working at Wawa, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a convenience store like a 7-Eleven with a gas station and whatnot. So I was working at a gas station and still pursuing my education. And one of my friends, one of my youngins, like when I played ball and stuff like that, he looked up to me and stuff like that. I was always like that. I was like that older guy for him to be like, hey man, keep your head up, work on your left hand and stuff. And I seen him. He came into the store, and here I am with this hairnet on, making a sandwich. And it was random because I didn't go back to my hometown. I was in a whole different state, and he was just driving through. It was just like a weird coincidence. And here he is, like older. He had just graduated, and he was working on his master's. He was finishing up his master's, and here I am still in undergrad, and I'm the big homie. So it was like a humbling and embarrassing moment for me. I mean, I took off my hairnet and dapped him up and was just like, hey man, like, what's up? I see you looking like, he looked like he was wearing some nice clothes and stuff, looking fresh. And here I am just, man, making sandwiches and working the register. And it was just like a moment for me that I'm just like, wow, like I always had like really great grades, and I was always really good at all the things that I did at a high level. And here is my young boy who's, on paper more accomplished than me and had a lot less time to do it. And that was like the switch I needed. I think like that next semester, I did like 22 credits an hour, and then I got a second job, and I was just in like a different mode where it was just like sleep, work, or school, make money. And I just let that carry out to the time I finished. And within 2 years, I was in a really good position to where I'm at dinners with, the president, the Secretary of State at the time, Hillary Clinton, and, meeting all types of ambassadors from every country. It was don't humble brag it or nothing.
Yeah.
No, it was just it wasn't.
Let's go back to the hairnet when you was looking like the lunch lady.
It was like, I'm just messing with you.
It's just like,
it's always
Don't
be
try to
proud of
stunt
your
on us.
accomplishment. Always be proud of your
Well,
accomplishments, man. I'm just messing with you.
it was literally a span of 2 years, and I went from like, dang, I'm trying to finish to like, finishing up and getting a chance to have some really unique experiences and opportunities.
Genius.
So,
Like, I just couldn't stop winning.
Yeah.
Everything I did, I was just the best. I was just
Said I was born with excellence.
Exactly. I woke up
Hey,
every
man.
morning and pissed excellence.
Manic, real quick, did he ask you like, what are you doing here in Wawa? Did he ask you something like that? Hey man, what are you doing here?
Nah, he knew I was working. He was just happy to see me. Like, I'm like literally the big homie that left the state, and it's like nobody really would, I really knew what I was doing, because I wasn't really big on social media, because I was a little bit of a mix of ashamed and focused, more so much of the ashamed part. Just and I've never been a big social media person until now, like with this podcast and YouTube stuff. But no, it was like a damn moment. Like, I need to do better for myself. Like, what am I doing here? Like, how is no offense to him, but like, how is he?
Definitely offensive.
Yeah,
One last
it's
question,
like,
Dame. I apologize, but I gotta
It's
get
all
this.
good, brother.
Did you give him like any discount on like a sandwich or anything?
Oh,
The Wawa discount?
I wish I could, but
Let's go.
I'm one of those employees that then I play by the rules. So
Okay.
Your company man.
Wawa's loving you right now.
yeah.
One of the things that another thing that sparked this for me, I watched this guy, David Strands, and he had this guy named Myron Gowen on there, and Golden, and he was just talking about like growth, and he had this analogy, and I'm an old guy, so I use analogies, and I thought this one spoke to me and spoke to the topic well. So I'm gonna play this video. It's about 2 minutes or what have you like that, but it's super interesting, and there's a lot of great subtext there that I kind of want to like get into and kind of discuss, because it goes right along with everything that we're talking about. So let me pull it up real quick. Okay. Can everybody see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. All right, hold on. I gotta turn the music off real quick. All right. Here we go.
Okay, well, you've seen trees, right? What is a tree? Oh, it's this wood thing that grows out of the ground. Maybe sometimes it has some fruit on it, right? Okay, cool. Well, did you know that a tree has to grow in two directions at the same time? Did you know that?
A tree has to grow in two directions.
It's always growing in two directions at the same time. It's growing down and it's growing up. And what's interesting, if you could see the part of the tree that's under the ground, it looks very similar to the part of the tree that's above the ground. The root system is very similar to the fruit system.
Crazy. I never thought about that.
See what's happening. Look at right, exactly. Look what's happening to your face right now.
I've seen millions of trees in my life.
Right. And so something as common as a tree, but watch this. Here's what's interesting about a tree. The nature of a tree is that it is both gravitropic and phototropic. Now, you've never probably heard, maybe, have you ever heard of the word gravitropic before? Phototropic?
Never.
Okay. So gravitropic means it grows away from light and towards gravity. That's the root system. It's gravitropic in nature. So the seed goes in the ground, and then the tree starts growing down before it starts growing up. Now, here's what's interesting. When the seed is under the ground, it's dark under the ground, it's damp, and it has resistance. The root system has resistance. It has to push through the dirt to go down further, right? Well, once it breaks through the earth growing up, there's no more resistance. And the part of the tree that's above the earth grows towards light and away from gravity. So the tree is growing in two directions at the same time. Now, okay, how does that help me in my life though? That sounds really cool, right? Well, that is one of the most beautiful pictures of the way life works that you've ever seen, that I've ever seen. How? It's the work that you do in the dark when it's difficult and damp that makes the work that you do that everybody sees in the light work. Nobody saw you. Everybody sees you now in this beautiful studio, on this podcast, on Instagram Live, on YouTube, on whatever. Everybody can see that. Oh my goodness, David Shands. But they didn't see the gravitropic nature of your journey while you were on your way here, working deep into the wee hours of the morning to become the person. That's the root system. Now, everybody proclaims and professes to desire the fruit system. Everybody wants to grow up towards, just reach for the stars, and I want everybody to see how tall I can be and how sweet my fruit is and blah, blah, blah. Well, that sounds great. But if you're unwilling to go down, you cannot go up. That's just the nature of life. In nature, before anything can go up, it has to go down.
Now, that was just like super profound to me. That spoke to me like crazy because I think I think that represents like everything that anybody who's trying to make a change from like some other shit to some real shit you have to go through. It's just like the part that people see is what happened. Like people see, most of our situations. We're like, oh my God, you made it. You did this and that. I was like, you don't know how much dirt I had to push through in order to get to the point. And I think the dirt is the foundation of everything that comes from there. And I think when you're really trying to make those changes to a more positive life, you got to create a new foundation for you, because the foundation that most people were built their whole life on was a foundation of bullshit. It was a foundation that wasn't sustainable. It wasn't a foundation that was going to help you grow any place that you want to be. And I think that's super important. And that's why that spoke to me like crazy. And that even facilitated me having this topic as on the podcast. And I want to, with that being said, I want to introduce Mai. She just came in. She is a fellow podcaster. Everybody gets a
hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Thank you guys for allowing me to come in late a little bit.
It's all good.
So I am super like in my discipline era right now. So I have gym obligations before anything else right now.
And that's part of your gravitropic root system is like you found something that grounds you, which is the gym and working out or what have you. And I think that's I want to get into some of the things that we're talking about when it comes to some of the things you can do proactively to like make sure that no matter how wild and crazy your past is, you can try to mitigate some of the effects that it might have on your future. These are some of the things I did, and I'm thrilled. These aren't set in stone. If people disagree or agree or want to add something to it, it's very malleable, and everybody can add something to it because everybody's experience is valuable to somebody out there. So let me just start off with, one of the first things that I had to do when I wanted to change and like try to build something of more significance was to take time away to learn what my value was when it came to long-term goals. I had to figure out what are some of the things that I'm going to start to build the foundation of a new life and a new experience on. I knew some of the foundations I came up with, like I definitely wanted to have, I didn't want to have another divorce. I wanted the next person I married to be the person I rock with for the rest of my life. Whether or not we got married or we just did a Kirk Douglas, Goldie Hawn thing and just stayed together forever. I just wanted to be the one this to be either the last person, I'm with. I knew I wanted children. I knew I wanted to, like, all my brothers have like kids that my mom couldn't even see. Like one of my brothers had a kid in Mexico, so it was just like I didn't want to do that. My oldest brother had a bunch of kids all over the place. I knew I wanted to be like, if you come to visit my kid, you only got to make one trip, kind of situation. So that's the kind of things that I started as a foundation for any of the changes. And I put that as like the roots into kind of a new existence. I want to talk to you, Ms. True. What are some of the things? I know you said your son, and that's a huge root into a new system, but is there certain other things you did in order to like get your roots dug into the soil and make sure that you had something firm that was going to keep you steady when the temptations of going back into their life start to creep up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think me moving to Sacramento was one of them. And it was something that I didn't know that I was doing for that reason. But I think that subconsciously I knew I was trying to distance myself from that lifestyle because I moved to that area because I had family in the area. So I'm an only child. I don't have a lot of family where I lived, and my cousins live there, and they were there to support me and to be there for me. And I think that was subconsciously, I did make that move to get myself out of a situation that was no longer beneficial to me or healthy for me or my son. Um, and I think when you are trying to leave that lifestyle, you need to sometimes cut off a few people. You have to get rid of and not to say that you don't like them or that they're a bad person, but they are not on that same journey that you're on. So I could love you from a distance. It's not that I don't like you, but I could love you from a distance. And I think
Yeah.
that, oh yeah. And just in attempting to get a job now, it wasn't easy for me. I don't have the college degree and all that kind of stuff. And it's never been natural for me to sit behind a desk and do the 9 to 5. I am a social person. I do enjoy being social. However, I knew that if I continued that, I wouldn't be able to be the mother I wanted to be or to be the role model I wanted to be. Um, and I do still have a lot of fun. You don't have to go to clubs to have fun. I'm a huge person on family and all that kind of thing. So we get together a lot with our family, and just having now bought a house with family. I have 4 generations living under my roof. So sometimes you have to isolate yourself from that life in order to move forward and get on the right page and get on track to where you want to go.
I agree. I agree. That's
Yeah.
definitely a good point. I want to go to my. Let me give you a little background on what we do. And we kind of all of us kind of went down where we had like various degrees of like wild or past or histories that where if we'd have kind of kept on those roads, we probably wouldn't have ended up where we are now. We're proud of the things we've done in order to kind of change the narrative when it comes to our story. I'm gonna put it on you. Did you have like a wild past that you kind of like had to like kind of get away from? So you were always
I wasn't allowed. Well, I come from a pretty strict background. Like I have both my parents growing up, and not only that, I had extra extended family that we always lived with. So, and I don't know if this really makes a difference, but I find most cultural families, they don't really allow their daughters to do too much of the wild and out, as people would call it, especially in the younger ages. To be honest, my first club experience was probably when I was 24. We weren't allowed to do stuff like that. I had to wait until I moved away from my family to actually be able to go out and experience those things. And I mean, the pro is I avoided a lot of things early on in life. The con was I avoided things that I should have learned when I was younger. And as an adult, learning them, I had to learn them pretty quickly. We were in school. My parents never went to college. My mom's from Samoa, and then my dad is from Oakland. So they wanted better for their kids, and that's what we did. It wasn't until, I want to say, the rockiest thing that I had to experience is probably my dating life. And that's when I realized, like, something's got to give. Like, I'm 30. I don't want to be doing this shit till I'm 40 or older. And I looked around, and a lot of my friends are either in unhealthy relationships or unhappy marriages. So that's not the life that I want for myself. So I decided that I needed to change the type of woman that I was being to attract the type of man that I wanted. because
What
I
it,
want a family that I come from.
what were some of the things you did to kind of like build your like foundation? Like, what were some of the values that you kind of developed for yourself? It's like, okay, I'm gonna build my. One of the things that you had that a lot of people don't have is that they had a good family structure that was kind of like, kept them in line or what have you. Were some other things that you developed in order to build on that? Like, okay, this is going to be the foundation of how I move in order to build the life that I want.
Well, I'm kind of the center of my family, so I kind of mesh everybody together. So being that person that everybody goes to and is relying on, I need a partner that's in the same lane. I have to be able to rely on you, but you also have to understand that I'm technically like the head of the family. So every family event is organized by me. I need a partner to support that. And just in general, like, I can't be out here shaking ass on Instagram. The type of man that I want is probably not, or that I wanted, I shouldn't say I want. I'm in a very happy relationship, but the type of man that I wanted at the time would not be attracted to that type of female. And then I don't really enjoy clubs too much, so I spend a lot of time at home or at work. Um, those are kind of, or the gym. Those are disciplines that I had, because what you learn when you're in your early 20s these days is find the next partner to heal whatever you got going on. And that's not the way that you need to be handling it. Like, you gotta live what you talk. You can't sit here and be like, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna be a better woman tomorrow. I'm gonna stop going out every day tomorrow. Like, no, you just gotta do it. Like, you gotta be who you say you want to be.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. How about you, Jessica? What were some of the things that you decided? Okay, this is going to be the foundation. It seems like one of the things that a lot of people find if either starting or definitely helps them keep them grounded are children. What are some of the things you can say your children as well that kept you grounded and kept you like, okay, all the stuff that's going to keep me from getting where I'm gonna get, I'm pushing that to the side, and I'm gonna stay focused on the things that I want out of life.
So for me, in terms of career and all that, my career was always good from day one. I've always had that work ethic, right? But that reel, I want you to send it to me, or that thing. It takes a lot to make me cry and get chills like that. That was incredible, because 2022, Jessica, 47 years old, 2 years ago, this past March, ending a 7-year relationship that I thought would be forever. Best thing that ever happened to me in terms of it ending. But at the time, it doesn't feel that way. Crying on the bathroom floor, like to where I was sick, and thinking, how do I start over at 47 with now my kid in college? So you have purpose when your children are there, right? Where's my purpose? Right. And it's always been in helping others, but it is a humbling experience. And the journey through that first year was obviously healing from that breakup. The second year was, on Tribe Called Jess, the theme of my birthday for my 49th on my podcast this year was that quote that lady says, the privilege of a lifetime is to be exactly who you are. So that journey to the second year, now I didn't have a breakup to validate the healing, and I really had to heal and become self-aware, which leads me back into the point you're asking. And I think the journey to self-awareness is lonely, but it brings you to alignment with the right energy in your life, and meaning the right people around you. And it doesn't mean the point that was made on here that the other people aren't great. They just can no longer align with where you're going and the energy you feel. I can't be around different people. So I've always gone to the gym, so I have that discipline, but the discipline with myself, just who I am and the intention I go out in and who I associate with and allow with me matters so much. And I went to Aoki a few weeks ago, like I said, but the people I'm with are on the same wavelength. So we're not doing things that we might do if we were with different people. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Or no matter what we do. So I think no matter what you do and how you have fun, if this is okay, if in here is good and intentional and disciplined and very self-aware, then you're always going to carry yourself in that character.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. How about you, Manic? Was it? What was some of the things that you kind of like did that ground you, that created your value system to where you're like, okay, if I stick with this is going to get me where I want to long term.
Honestly,
besides your greatness.
well, besides my greatness, that makes it really difficult. No, I'm just playing. Honestly, the biggest thing for me was my faith, and my belief system in God, and you know, at times when I felt the lowest, I was able to either open up the Bible and read scriptures and verses, most of which I didn't understand, but just having that as like a foundation. And then later on in life I did the same thing, but I was more mature with an understanding, and I had a pastor who was answering the questions that I had, and I always surrounded myself with really good people, so they knew who I was. Jerk was definitely one of them. So he's had the opportunity to see like changes in me, and kind of that growth. So I mean, for me, it was always, my foundation was my faith, because regardless of what happens in life, when you have a belief system that's rooted in faith, I feel like life is just different tests and challenges, and I have a strong belief that God doesn't put anything in front of you that you can't overcome. So with that in mind, and then understanding that sometimes challenges are given to the strongest warriors, any type of rock bottom or dark place, I was always able to turn and like, okay, what lesson do I need to learn from this? Like, how did I get myself in this position? What were the signs that could have prevented me to get into this position? So when you look at matters like that, you can take responsibility, because I can't point to a single bad outcome that was completely out of my control. Like, even if I went to a random place and something bad happened to me, I could think, I had a good feeling not to go to this place, right? So, or maybe I stayed too long. I did this last time, and this, the result is much worse this time, but I knew better. So it's like taking that accountability for the negative situations. And even in my divorce, like, I can relate to Jessica's pain, and just having to end something that you initially planned to be forever. And I ended it, but it wasn't something that I did lightly. It was very challenging and difficult, and during that time I just had to kind of rewind and take things back to square one, and kind of go back to my hobbies. I didn't really want to be around women. It wasn't one of those things where I got divorced and I'm just like, yeah, I filed, and like, now I'm a free man, I could just do whatever. It wasn't one of those situations. It was like, when my divorce or my separation was announced, my DMs went crazy, my Facebook messages went crazy, and it was mostly women like, hey, I'm so unfortunate, if you ever need to talk or you want to fly out and come out here.
I've been there.
So and that honestly made me angry, because I'm just like, damn, I haven't even got a chance to like mourn,
process.
To process this. And like, you're already putting your request to be something. And I lost a lot of female friends that way.
Yeah,
because I was a much worse asshole than I am now.
She's like, let me get this shit. I just got us something. You think I'm in a better mood to deal with women right about now? It's like,
yeah. So, but yeah, my faith has always been my my foundation, and it's grown stronger and stronger through the negatives and the positives. One of the things I did in my past, I didn't when I was winning, I didn't praise as much. But now I know to give praise, not just in the lows when I'm needing help, but also give praise when I'm on certain highs, because when I think about some of the things that's happened in my life and situations that I've been in and overcame, I just know that it's not even me. It's not my greatness. It's me being blessed.
Okay. I just want to shout out to everybody watching on IG. It's about to end in an hour because I forgot to add a additional stream. So if you guys want to come over to YouTube, the link is in my is up there on my bio, as well as if you go to one of my stories, you can click the link and come over and watch it. So I appreciate that. And let me give some shout out to I was on a podcast with this brother, Alfie Kingdom. He's a good cat. He's another Oakland cat. That's what I'm saying. These Oakland cats are just way solid. So he's just a super solid cat. I appreciate you. And this cat right here is this is a good brother, DL Sane. He's a comedian. If you ever in Tampa, he has a comedy show that he does out there. So just if you want to follow DL Sane, I really want to know podcast. He lets you know when he's having shows or what have you. I got to get out to Tampa to go to one of his shows because I know it's going to be hilarious. So I appreciate you showing some love. All right. What about you, Jared?
So I'll say one of the things, man, I had to do, like I say, when I was at that crossroads was I had to rip apart myself. And, by doing that, I started realizing I was very selfish, self-centered. And then I always gravitated towards a lot of risk. So like I was saying before, even going in the military, to kind of separate from stuff, I went to infantry. Then after that, I went to be a mercenary and stuff like that. So I was just what? I keep gravitating to risk, and meanwhile, I had a son. So I was going into these lanes, I was that's pretty self-centered because, something could happen to you when you're trying to build up a family. Then also, during that time, I had to build that foundation. I started cracking open the Bible. Then also I had to start, kind of what Miss Truth was saying, separating from friends and stuff that was very negative, the party scene, kind of what you're bringing up now. So I had to kind of, start making myself a little boring because I was the party animal type, center of everything. So once I started reining that in, I started replacing a lot of those negative acts with working out, martial arts, school, stuff like that. And then once I kind of did that, I started pushing forward and stuff. So it was definitely, like I said, doing a self-reflection and also taking feedback from people. So I remember there was this one guy, and this was earlier on in the process. And, coming out the military, I know, Dame, we use a cuss word every 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulled me to the side. He was like, man, you sound ignorant as hell. And I kind of got real offensive. I was like, man, do I whoop his ass or how do I take this this feedback? But I paused. The next day I came back. I was like, hey, what did you kind of mean by that? He started breaking it down, so I started reading books and stuff like that. He was like, hey, man, you need to work on your speech and stuff. So, after I kind of like started learning how to take feedback, like I said, I landed in a pretty good place. And, now I sound like Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So, the feedback definitely worked and helped out throughout my career. So.
Yeah. You don't sound like Carlton Banks, but I hear what you're trying to say.
But Dame, can I touch on that clip that you was talking about?
Yeah, whatever you want to do. What's up, brother?
Yeah, because I really like that clip. At first they was losing me with the gravity stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, oh shit, this is a little too smart for me. But
that guy is a super. He's like that. He's a communication and economics guy, Myron Golden, who has some really great insights and a lot of shit. And he's really good at using metaphors and similes to bring stuff together to make it paint the picture. But go ahead.
Yeah,
brother.
at first I had to Google some of them words. I was like, look, I got to keep up. Dame might put me on the spot, be like, you know what thesaurus is? I'm like, but no, I like what he was saying as far as how the roots, travel down, and that's the level nobody could see because everybody on this panel is pretty polished and we went through that whole process, but like he was saying, they didn't see that build up to get to that point. And I remember it was a couple of weeks ago and I got pissed, man. Somebody was like, oh, you guys are something like elitist or something, or you always had your stuff together. I was like, man, you don't know what the hell I went through or with anybody else. But, they always make that assumption like, oh, you must have came from a rich family or something. I'm like, nah, man, like you did miss the whole process and stuff. This, you're just seeing a more refined product now. But that's what kind of brought up in my mind. So now I definitely liked when he mentioned that part as far as like the area you can't see. So not very good.
Like, I watched Mike Tyson podcast and he had this one guy on there. I wish it was his name because I really want to give him some credit. He said, "You don't know how violent I had to be in order to be this gentle."
I saw that.
And that is something I that resonated with me because I had to go through some shit to be this solid. Seriously. And I'm a strong believer in that, like that iron sharpens iron thing. Yeah. But I mean, it gives me the latitude to be non-combative because I be on podcasts and people like want to, I get called simps a lot because if I don't always like hate on women or what have you, it can get. And then I could be on other podcasts when I'll be called misogynistic. I'll be called all kinds of stuff, and I don't just engage. But it's like it took a lot of me engaging in bullshit to know not to engage in bullshit.
Facts.
Just all right. Well, I appreciate everybody's like, let me go ahead and jump through some more of these things. You guys said a lot of the things that I had, some of the things that I kind of like used myself in order to like change my public perception of myself, like, and one of the things is change your public image. It was like, it's a little bit harder with social media. If you out there, flashing money, using the money phone, like obviously, like, with your pants sagging, or if you out there showing ass as a woman, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to change your public persona because, I used to be the guy who, when I went to the club and stuff, because I knew people, I wanted to be up on stage, like with everybody showing it, like bottles, two fisting bottles and shit. And like, then I'm like just sitting in the corner with my wife, like, or at like having a drink or something like that. They'll be, come up here, Dave. I'm like, no, I'm good. We chilling down here. I don't need to be up on stage with y'all. Those are the things that, and people like were shocked. And it was like, but I was really on a mission to like change my public image or what have you. Is it something that anybody can speak? If there's something where you had felt like, okay, here's the change I need to make in my public image, because I can look at Nikki, I can look at your website, your IG page. I think you like have like one little clip of you, young Nikki, at the club doing a thing, but everything else is, oh, my chickens just hatched and we don't have eggs. It's like, how important was it to change your public image in order to like show people that you're a different person? You ain't about that dumb shit. You're on mute, Nikki. Yo, Nikki, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
You gotta unmute yourself, girl.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, drowning in chickens. Way more chickens than I was ready to deal with. But anyhow, I grew up on a ranch. I was actually a country girl to begin with. I wanted to escape that life, and that's what drove me back to the city and back to the Bay Area. And now I realize I don't remember what the original question was.
I said,
ADHD.
How important was it to like change your perception of the public perception of you and who you are, to keeping you on the path of your journey, or keeping you grounded, keeping you moving in the right direction? Like, what are some of the things that you had to do to change your public perception? I'm with fashion, if you will. I love like the risque things to wear, whatever, but I never was really one. Even when I did work in the club, yes, whatever dress I was wearing as a bottle service girl, we got to wear whatever we wanted. I would wear, and I've always had my family on my Facebook. I don't think any of my family had MySpace, but I'm aging myself there. I don't think I had to do too much changing of my persona, because even though I was working in clubs and whatnot, I was never shaking my ass on Instagram or Facebook or any of that. Nothing like that publicly. Never, never, never. But I think what happened in the last, maybe I would say the last 4 years, is I don't
care what anybody's perception of me is at
Good
that
point.
point. I was a Hooters girl. And I think, when you work at Hooters, there's guidelines of what you have to do. Your hair needs to be done. Your nails need to be done. You cannot have tattoos. You have to have your makeup done. And I think from the time I was 21 years old up until I can't even think off the top of my head when I quit the industry, I had to be on all day, every day. And that's just not me. So now what you see is what you get. So
Good.
I do not wear makeup on a regular basis. I put on eyeliner and mascara every now and then, but the full face, absolutely not. And I only would show the glamorous things. I would never have shown what you guys maybe see now. So I think I reached that point where I don't care what anybody thinks. This is who I am. And what you see is what you get. And if you don't
Good.
love me for who I am, then you could respectfully exit my life.
That's the way to be right there.
I co-sign that. I co-sign that. I mean,
yeah, that's just where I am at this point.
I think
But I
Damien
definitely went through where I was heavily into my church and things like that, and I was even more conservative than I naturally am. But now I have definitely reached that point to where I know who I am, and if you don't, and if you want to have a false perception of me based on what you see online or wherever it may be, then bless you. Do think what you need to think. I know who I am. So
all right. Let me give some love real quick. I give it love to Sarah. Sarah, I think you just had a baby, if I remember correct. I know you follow me. I think you follow me on IG. So if that's you that just had a baby, congratulations on your new baby. Then I want to get Sean Antonio. Sean, I got to get you on one of these panels. I love being on the panel with this guy. I think our minds are aligned. This is another reformed. I don't know reformed, but he was a big time player. And he ain't about that shit no more. He's about the finding solid shit. So I got to definitely get him. And Chris is another cat that's a really solid cat. And the ever funny Mr. Poppy Blanco right here. If you wanted the wildest, coolest, just like real talk Colombian, excuse me, on the planet, that's Mr. Poppy Blanco right there. I appreciate you coming through. All right. All right, and what about the rest of you guys? Anybody can jump in. I think I don't want to necessarily put anybody on the spot, but if anybody feel like they want to jump in and address that thing, some of the things they have to do to kind of like change their public perception. I think a lot of people spoke on it, but if there's anything you want to highlight specifically, you did to change your public perception of you in order to maintain the trajectory you're on as far as getting to a better place. Anybody want to speak on that?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jessica.
I'll just be quick. I think what was said was true. I mean, the beauty of age is that I say you don't care. Of course, I care the character I carry myself in, right? You see my IG. I'm all over the place. I do TikToks, then my gym reels, then, my dog, and then my podcast shorts, that come off YouTube, I post. So, how I show up for people and in person, I think every one of them would say I have great character, best heart, loyal. And I try to, when you know better, do better and help another person up. And that's what I try and do, especially with my younger friends. And so, I'm just funny and out there. And I say I don't care, but I think that's the beauty of age. I am who I am. Take it or leave it. And I love you anyway. And I wanted to, something Manic said, he gave me the chills and I wanted to address it. Now it went out of my head. And that's also not the beauty of age. You forget everything really quick.
Oh, you're about to blow his head up.
I know, right? I was about to just stop her.
It's already blown up.
No,
So.
I think what you said is so true. I know. You said God, gives his strongest soldiers and bad stuff. But, at 49, I'll tell you, I'm so grateful for every bad thing, even the stuff I'm like, I shouldn't have gone through that, or I didn't want to. God, it has made me who I am, empathetic. I don't think I would be the human I am today. And that movie with, I think it was Will Smith, Collateral Beauty. And I always think of that, find the collateral beauty in every hard thing. And that's the level up, right? So I love what you said, and always walk in faith, whatever that is for you.
That's what's up. What were you gonna say, Dirk?
I was just gonna say, like one of the things I had to do to kind of change my image was honestly I had to like move away from like New York. And one of the reasons behind that is because a lot of times it's just like if you have like a okay, my bad. I jump in your topics.
No. That go. You good segue.
Because it's one of the things. It's like people see you a certain way. So like if you come from like a certain background or something, it's like they can never see you different. So like I think even in the military, you try to go home and visit people and still hang out, still try to find a way to connect. And then like everybody was always on some stuff where it's just like, okay, we got him with us. So I was the wild out type person. So, they would go out and start stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to change. I'm trying to, I'm in the military now. So eventually I just saw like, hey, if I keep hanging around these type of crowds and stuff, then it's going to pull me back into some trouble and stuff. So I just, eventually I stopped, going back home or be like, hey, y'all come down to visit me wherever I'm at if you want to come down there. So yeah, I had to kind of cut ties from that. And it was funny that you mentioned Mike Tyson because, yeah, he was definitely about that life because he grew up around a lot of, in Brooklyn, and he was around a lot of my people and stuff. Yeah, serious dude, man. So knew him when I was younger and stuff. But yeah, definitely, I just had to relocate, like you said, down there. I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, like when me and my wife, like when we really started to get together, because we were still in pretty close in proximity to everything I was doing. And it was so easy. Like people would call me up and like, oh, we're doing this. You should come through. Like I got this one solid cat and he respected my situation. So he wasn't bad with it, but he would invite me every time to his birthday party. He just turned 50 and he just invited me to his birthday party. But I know what those parties is like. I know. I've been to so many of them. I know there's going to be thongs. There's going to be weed. There's going to be a lot of alcohol. There's going to be twerk. There's going to be all that. And it's just like when you in your early 20s, that's what you live for. But they say club life was the reason I loved life. That's the way that was my motto back in the day. And I just know, but he's respectful with it. He said, hey, if you I like you because you're a solid dude. I've known you for a while. I'm doing this, come through. But he knows, I was like, I can't do it, bro. I can't do it because it's just like I've divested myself of that whole part of me. It's like I want people to be like, if I tell some of my stories and it's happened on some of these podcasts, people look like you, like, yes, me, I was that guy. So I like that people have that surprise when they don't realize and they don't even connect me to the life that I used to live. So,
and thank God we grew up in that era, man. We didn't have like the IG and all that, we had to like develop the photos and stuff. You had to actually take stuff to the shop. So yeah. I look back at that. I'm like, man, we dodged a bullet on that one.
Huge bullet right there. But I know there's enough out there that I would never be president. Just put it that way. Somebody will find something.
So like, you ain't even trying to run, huh?
I'm seriously. If I wasn't, I'd run for like dog catcher in East Texas. And hope nobody sends emails some of these pictures of some of the shit that I did. But yeah, it's enough out there to where I'm good, but it doesn't affect my life on a daily basis. Ma, you got anything to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I tend to do now is keep more things to myself and allow myself to be more present, because people they like to look at your Instagrams, your social platforms, and take that to value. Like they think they know you through those platforms. And honestly, it was very toxic. It was a very toxic relationship with social media, is to post everything I was doing. Not everything needs to be posted. Not everything needs to be shared. And a lot of the things that I get into, I do like to have the memories for myself. So I'll have pictures. Maybe I won't post it this year, but I might post it next year. But some things I feel like are meant just for you in that moment. So for me, that's what helped me.
Yeah, I got pictures here, but it's just like one of those things where it's just like, I just have to remember. Sometimes you got to remember. Sometimes you got to remember how fly you was, back in the day.
No doubt.
I'm the person with all the photo albums of everybody, like from way back when. I keep photos and an album still, and I still got real photos and real collages and photo frames. Like I like things on that level, and it's just some people don't need to see that shit. They don't need to see what you're going through. Like for real, some of the shit just needs to be kept to you. Like a lot of people will post so much even about their relationship, and what happens when they go south. People get on there and they start talking shit about each other, and then now you hugged up and everybody looking at you like, okay, so what the fuck is going on? Like they feel like they went through the breakup with you. Like no. And then women tend to do this. We tend to, band up and it's okay, girl, fuck him. And then now she's back with him. Everybody like, what the fuck is going on? So a lot of things, like me and my significant other, we talked about that because he has a bigger platform than I do. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what are the guidelines for that? And what do you expect from me? What do I expect from you? Because I'm gonna be real. You're not gonna be out here showing whatever the fuck you want and doing whatever you want and think that we're gonna be together, and vice versa. So those things I take into account when I post what I post, or when I choose to like go live, or even when I put on my podcast. Is it gonna be disrespectful to the men in my lives, to the women in my lives? Am I gonna regret it 10 years from now? I think about that a lot more now than I did when I was younger.
I got a question, Mike. What is he not allowed to do? Post.
Yeah, what's his ground rules?
I don't. If you don't do the shit, don't post it. Like to me, that makes you a liar. And as my significant other, I don't like hypocrites, and I don't like faking it. Like you have to be. If it's going to be on your social media, because men don't really do like ass shaking, and I don't really care if you got your shirt off. Like I don't care. Okay. But if you posting like money and cars and shit we don't have, like you out of your fucking mind, take that shit down and stop lying to these people. Like that's what I don't like. The fake personas. Like
the
if that's not who you are, don't post that shit, because I'm gonna go on there real quick and be like, who is this?
That's not your car.
You don't do that. Take this down. Like we already talked about that. He had to clean out his whole Instagram because I'm like, you don't have that car. That was rented. Take it down.
That's a rental.
Take it the fuck down.
Take it off.
Take it the fuck down. I don't.
You ain't gonna have us looking crazy on social media. You got it today, and then somebody posted next week.
You should have let him kept that photo up. He's about to come out with his mixtape, and here you are messing up his dreams.
Take that shit down so you can buy it. No, fake it till you make it. You either got it or you don't. Take it down.
I feel you on that. I'm the same way. That whole shit is just is whack to me. One of the things that I think is understated, but it's probably the most important thing, because it is when it comes to, if you're really trying to like make changes, positive changes, is to, you got to go with a clear conscience, and you got to make amends. I don't mean I sound like a 12-step program. You got to go to the people you wrong and but you do.
You do.
I mean, real talk. It was like, because the last thing you want to do is think, okay, cool, I'm doing what's right. I'm having this good life, and some bullshit that you didn't clear up comes up and bites you in the ass and trying to like derails the progress that you made so far. I like to be transparent. I'm not going to be one of those cats who like say a bunch of stuff and then like give no context, or like not give up myself. So one of the things I had to do was, and I'll tell the story, and this is, God, I'm really gonna sound like an asshole, but I was an asshole, so it's all good. I'm reformed. This girl I was dating wanted me to go to Vegas with her, and I didn't have a lot of money. I was like, I ain't got no money to go to Vegas or whatever like that. And she was just like, she went and borrowed some money from her sister. She was like, and it was a lot of money. It was like $1,000 to go to Vegas or whatever. She was like, or gave me $1,000 so I could go buy a ticket and all this kind of stuff to Vegas or what have you. Actually, it was more than that. Jesus Christ, I think it was $2,000 to go to Vegas. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pay you back. I'm gonna pay you back. I'll pay you back. I just totally like, then went to Vegas. Me and the girl got into a fight, ended up not messing with each other. And she was like, well, you still gonna pay my sister back her money. I'm like, oh, okay. Come find me. I was like that, come find me, dude. And then it was just like, years went by or whatever like that. And I started making the changes. I started trying to be a better person. I started trying to be like a better man. And then stuff started coming up. I was like, something reminded me. I think I found something from that trip because I had totally forgot about it. And I was like, dude, oh shit. I owe that chick this money. So imagine this. And any of the ladies who, if you still can hear me, can jump in. But since I can see you, Nikki and Jessica, you let me know what you would think about this situation. Your husband, you guys are doing well, money is good and stuff like that, goes to you and said, I want to take $2,000 out of our money and I want to pay back this chick that I messed around and went to Vegas, didn't pay her money back, messed around on her, and she was like, well, I want to go on social media, find her, reach out to her, and I want to send this woman $2,000 just because I just felt like things are going too well, and there's some karmic retribution right around the corner that's going to shit all over this good life that we built in. How would you guys react if your man went and said that to you? Would that be a positive thing? I'm gonna go to you, Nikki, because you were up here first. Would that be a positive thing?
No, yeah. I would want the receipts though. You know what I mean? I would want the receipts though. No, I would want to make sure that was a real life situation and you weren't just giving somebody some money.
Okay, I understand that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
But no, 100%. No, I think that's a very noble thing to want to do or did.
Please let me play a girl in this scenario.
I'm a pretty chill woman, but that's why I said, show me the receipts. You're coming to me as a man and you're telling me as my husband or my boyfriend or whoever, and we've built this life together and these are your demons and this is something that you guys had to work out. I would say, yeah, you owe her money, her sister's money, because poor girl. Sorry. But that's a shitty situation for somebody. That's a lot of money. I'm sure that, $2,000 is $2,000. If that was really something that happened, I would say, good God, yes, give them their money back. I would be 100% on board with that.
Okay, what about you, Jess?
With the receipts.
So
I got pushback.
So the reality of the situation, I think, is that a lot of women would be pissed and probably not on board with that. But I think myself now, and probably most of myself in my later 30s, first of all, I would think it's extremely brave to go to your partner and have to have that conversation. So Jessica now, especially now, would have a tremendous amount of respect and be okay with this, especially as a team effort. And as long as we were fiscally fine, right, I would be on board with it. I think you would have a issue, a lot of girls would, right? Because a lot of times when we're with a partner, and this gets a little deep, we think with ego, everything is about ego. And until you let that go, those conversations are tough to have if you both not letting go of ego, if you're coming at love and relationship without your ego. But I would be okay with it. I wouldn't need receipts. I don't give a shit. I make my own money. As long as we're fiscally cool, we're on board, you're being honest, give your money. And it's the right thing to do. And I would think if I picked a partner in you who's an evolved man and me evolved woman, I would think that I picked right and honest sort. And so I would trust you.
Good. How about you, May? Oh, she hesitated.
You said 2,000, right?
That's the thing is like, okay, so with the partner that I'm with now, I would understand. Like, why you would feel the need to pay it back, and I do understand the karma, but the explanation needs to be just like you just said it. There needs to be no hidden, like, you don't leave out shit. You need to make sure I understand what the fuck that happened and why you need to do it before you do it. But as long as the communication is clear and you have made it, clear that we're doing this, I'm okay with it. And if it's a joint bank account that we have assumed responsibility financially on both ends, it is what it is. But you gonna have to clearly explain what happened. Like, I need exactly like you explained it. It needs to be told to me that way. Because a lot of people will miscommunicate, leave out shit, and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this."
Yeah, they would say it was 4 years ago when it was 4 months ago.
Yeah, be honest about it. Be clear about it. Like, I need to understand just very clearly why it needs to be done. And this can't be like a repetitive thing. You can't be out here handing out money. So I need to know if there's anybody else you're going to feel guilty about. Get it all out right now. Let's figure it out, because we can't do this. This can't be a cycle. I'm not with that. It can't be something that you're going to think about it another 2 months and be like, hey, by the way, this person too. No.
How many people on that list?
I think the thing that hit me, because I was like, I felt like anybody else that I had, that a lot of people, that was the only one with like some money shit. But I felt like, she was a single mom when she gave it, and she's a single mom now. And I just felt like, dude, I just felt really, 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 really shitty.
I need the whole story.
Like I said,
story. Have it out.
It's like, what's the thing about it was, things were just going so well for us that I was just like, there's no way that the other shoe is not going to drop and something's going to hit me in the ass and just the punishment. You know what it was? It was that scene from fucking Color Purple. Ain't nothing good, mister. Ain't nothing good going to happen to you until you do right by me.
Right by me, yeah.
And that hit me in the face like, damn. I was like, this is going good, but it's going to fuck up somehow, because until I do right by somebody I've wronged, that I didn't need to wrong, I gotta be so that's the kind of situation. I know fellas, what you guys got to say about it?
Dame, I give you props for analyzing the situation, trying to right your wrongs, and shout out to the ladies for being riders in that situation. But if I was your chick, I would be like, look, Dame, I'm about to leave your ass. What you did to that lady was give her a lesson in life that she could learn from. You made her a better woman. We're not going to give her no money, Dame. She's just got to hold that L, move on through life. We're going to we're going to take a trip. We're going to Bora Bora, something with that 2000. And I appreciate you for thinking about her, though. You're a good man. That's how our conversation would have went.
Gina.
Yeah.
It was like,
Ruthless.
Jerk is like that scene from Dave Chappelle when they was beating up Rick James. He was like, Rick James needs some help. I just gave him some help. She learned not to give people money.
Yeah, but like Dame, you helped her out in life, man. She learned how to like discernment now moving forward. That's what you did for her.
But I gave her a different lesson later. I let her know like people can change.
That probably helps.
Yeah, that definitely.
And then the funny thing is, like when I reached out, they probably thought I was on some bullshit because they knew me from the bullshit days years and years before. They was like, what is his angle on this shit?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want?
So just give me your routing number. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. And then she was like, okay, send it to this address, and like waited. And the next day I sent it out. When they got it, the communication totally changed. It went from skeptical, like, oh my God, my sister was just talking about she didn't know how she was gonna make the rest of her rent and blah blah blah. This is like a blessing and a la 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 la. So not only did I clear my conscience about giving it to her, it made me feel good that I could give it to her at the right time where it was really needed. And I was just like, so right now I'm looking like this amazing angel. So it is what it is.
Disregard everything I said. I think I'm on board now.
You're the savior.
I'm gonna give money.
and now they love me again.
You're gonna get like a Lifetime movie now, just based on that.
Seriously, what about?
If I was her. Do you remember approximately how long ago it was?
Oh shit! It was before my son was born, so it probably was 8 or 9 years ago. 9 years ago.
Damn, I don't have my calculator with me, but 9 years ago, if you can
Interest.
compound interest on that,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say.
just basic putting in
Yeah.
an index fund, you owe a lot more than 2,000.
Man,
She would have just happened to get that, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Things happen for a reason, though,
No, they
right?
do.
So,
yeah.
like, that money was on time. Maybe it was on time for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause she said that. She was like,
We
"Oh my
don't see
God."
the bigger picture, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, and that just goes into my bigger point. It was like, now my conscience is clear. I feel like
Yeah.
there's nothing
Yeah.
standing in the way of me just riding this wave of to a good life. I was like, there's not going to be my wife and kids walking down the street in San Francisco and some mad woman comes up and accosts me saying, "You owe me money." There'll never be the scene of embarrassment or anything like that, or making me feel like shit because I took care of it. It was late, but I took care of it, and it was came at the time she needed. So now, regardless, they see that maybe they believe in change. Maybe people can really change their nature or what have you in order to be a better person. Because when I was reaching out, I was like, I'm trying to be the cat. I got a daughter now. I'm trying to be a better man. It was all these reasons why I thought I needed to not just act away. I need to be away in order to really for it to stick. Because I could fake the funk for a while, but after a while, I think it would just my true. If that wasn't my nature hadn't really changed, it would come up in some other form or fashion that could be detrimental to my marriage. So I had to be that guy that would pay a chick from 6-7 years past, 8 years past, the money that she was due.
And that's big. That's big of you because you definitely didn't have to do that. She forgot about it. She waved it off. You obviously didn't. But I mean, most people really honest wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have that in them to, give up something that they don't have to give up. There's so many takers in this world, and I think it really warps people's sense of relationships and human behavior and dynamics because there are so many people so willing to take, and but when you're a giver, things like that just don't sit well with you.
Yeah,
especially if you're giving a lot.
Speaks to your heart and
100%.
the content of your character a lot.
Absolutely.
And probably everybody on the panel. And I think an important thing to remember too is give space for people to show you they've changed. And I think that's a big problem that, people, society as a whole, right? Champions, you can change and every day is a new day. But when you actually do it, right? We see it all over social media. They're like, it's almost the reverse, right? Unless, again, same energy level. And I've heard people say, "Oh my God, there's wild, crazy. You know how Jess is." And I'm like, I haven't seen you in 15 years. Like you don't even know who I am. And so people don't allow the space for change. They don't allow we need to be accountable, but we equally need to allow good space for people to be accountable. And so I think that's something we always have to keep in mind as well.
Yep. I agree.
For sure. Yeah. We're not the same people we were even 5 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you have to give the other people in your life, past people, some grace. 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
Big word, grace.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anybody else feel like they have to make amends? They had to make amends, or they had to make things right before they could really truly like move on into like a better place? Or is it just me? I'm just the asshole on the panel today.
No, I have a story.
Yeah.
Tell the story, man.
Okay, so I was in a very toxic relationship, and I was the abuser in the situation. He wasn't in his masculine, and I was. So that took a turn for the worse. I made more money. I was physically abusive. Like I would hit him, throw stuff at him. He never hit me. Never once raised his voice. Never did anything like that. I just did not respect him in any way, shape, or form. So when I got with my man now, I felt like I had to apologize to him. And that was the only person that I ever had to apologize to. And when I initially made contact, he was like, "No, like I don't want to talk to you." So I had to go through his friend to get him to come and sit down and talk to me. And I had to explain, that I am sorry. I was the problem and I did not mean to do that to you. It just was not a good situation for both of us. And I hope that he does find his happiness and just take accountability for what I did. And let him know, like, I did not forget that I put him through that. So that was
I'm curious about something. Do you think that like you hitting him was trying to make him assert himself? Because a lot of women say they do that because they want the man to assert themselves.
I wanted him to do to put me in my place, tell me like you're not gonna do this or talk to me this way or
hit you back.
Not hit me, don't hit me. It was like I didn't realize what I was doing until it was already too late. Like I would throw shit at him and he wouldn't say anything. He would just walk away. Or we'd be out and I'd like punch him. And I thought it was just like a, I thought it was just not like that. Not like in his face, but like I'd hit him on the back of his neck and one of my friends was like, stop hitting him. Like, why do you hit him like that? Or when we went on vacation with a bunch of other couples and everybody was telling me like, you're hella abusive. Like, you need to stop throwing shit at him. And it would just be because he either didn't do what I wanted him to do or he didn't give me the response that I wanted him to give me.
So what if when you met him in person, except the meeting, you showed up, he had like a pair of boxing gloves on the table?
He wanted to fight me.
You want to spar?
I'd probably laugh. I'd be like, you want to fight? Like, do you really want to fight?
So do you think you really could take him though?
Huh?
Do you think you really could have took him?
Obviously,
no, I don't fight. I wouldn't fight men. I don't fight men.
Oh.
You just smack him.
Because he wasn't going to hit back.
It was more than that. Like, he had lied to me, so his character was already destroyed. And then it wasn't just one time, it was like multiple times. And then I found out how many times he cheated on me, and I stayed in the relationship, so every time I'd beat his ass. Like, we'd be going through it. So there was so much into it, but I did not respect him. I didn't respect him at all.
It's so funny. Oh, sorry.
Once I stopped respecting him, I should have left. Mm-hmm. He should have left me. We should have left it alone. But we stayed in it too long. We stayed in it for like a year over what it needed to be. So. But now he's happy.
That seems pretty common.
Yeah, he's married. He's happy.
He's married to somebody.
Baby,
he set the bar really low for him, though.
He's in a great relationship.
You don't hit me? Oh, baby.
He was like, thank you.
I do.
Embrace me.
Will you marry
I had to tell my man this story, and my man was like, if you ever do some shit like that, I promise you to be single. I was like, okay. I'm never going to do that. I'm sorry.
So after you used to like beat him up, did you like come back and apologize and be like, hey, here's some money, buy yourself something pretty? Did you like ever do that to him?
No, but his like, he liked food, so I would feed him. He got fat.
That's how he knew you were sorry.
Yeah, I made him fat. I made him really fat. Like, I think he gained like maybe 60 to 70 pounds when we were together.
Oh, you were toxic. You know.
Yeah.
You want to hear this toxic? I had this female friend who would like start fights with her boyfriend because she knew that he would hit her, and then he would feel so bad he would buy her something after whatever she wanted. So if she wanted something, she would instigate a fight with him. Get physical. She would hit him, he would hit her, and then he'd feel bad and buy her something the next day.
They're both fucked up.
That's the most toxic thing I ever heard.
They are both fucked up. Both of them are fucked up. That's fucked up.
There's this Louis bag. That's three
Please don't hit me back.
Like, where were you last night?
I'm done.
This is just a slap.
You know?
I'm a crybaby.
How hard did he hit her? What the hell?
She was like, there was a price range. Like, okay, if I hit up one black eye, 500, two black eyes, 2,500.
Oh.
Damn.
Oh gosh.
No, but it was just a crazy situation. That's
a toxic relationship on both ends, though. That's not normal behavior. I'm sorry.
He was the manager of a strip club, and she was a stripper. So that's the kind of thing they were used to these weird dynamics.
that, regardless of their professions,
I'm
that
just
is
saying
fucked up.
that it was
Regardless,
a
it
weird
doesn't matter.
situation.
For sure.
He's abusing a woman physically, which a real man would never do.
Absolutely.
And she's instigating to be beat up by a man so that she can get a purse.
Yeah.
She knows.
No.
more
What
hours,
is a
maybe-
purse?
maybe he
A
had control
purse is
over
worth my
hours.
black eye?
Yeah. I mean,
That is
she
not
to
worth
her
it.
it was
No,
worth it.
why? I don't need it. Why? Oh God, I can't relate to that.
But no, thank you for sharing, because it just lets you know how
That's
many
people
people out here. Like, there's so many people, and on almost like a spectrum of, like, you have the crazies, then you have the super duper crazies, and I think they're far on that side of things. And then you have your serial killers, which are on like a whole nother they're like a whole nother level of crazy. But that's why you have to be careful, when you're meeting somebody new, and take your time.
Yeah, because
I think it's funny what you said. Not funny. Sorry, my little light went out. I think it's funny what you said today on a group chat. You were saying he wasn't showing his masculinity. Everybody was like, Jessica needs a boyfriend. And I said, I need someone that doesn't tell me what to do, but at the same time tells me what to do.
tells me what to do. Yeah.
I need
Tells you
both.
what to do in the way you want him to tell you what to do.
Correct. Like I need a man, because I think on the last podcast we're on Damien, I said I always have to, whole nother subject, you have to be the man in the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be a girl.
God, I feel that.
Well, see, that's the
And I
problem.
can't-
Is I'm a leader.
I
Like,
feel
I'm a
that.
manager. I'm a manager. Like, I tell people what to do all day, every day, and I'm a high paid manager. So like, you have to come in there with that footing, or it's not gonna work. Like, I've tried it. It doesn't work. You have to command respect from me, because
And have a higher authority.
Yeah, you have to do it
In a
And
respectful manner, though. Yeah.
I hate that it sounds like that, and a lot of people hate that I say shit like that, but it's the truth. Like, you have to put your foot down. Like, you have to tell me clear out, like, this is what you want. And that's what my man did. He was like, this is what I require. You're either going to do it or you're not. If you're not going to do it, go ahead. Go. That was it. That was all he said. He didn't say nothing else.
Fine, still delivered.
Well, one of the last things that I put up here, but this was not for me. I was going to have my because prior to this, I used to have a co-host, and she was a former dancer and what have you, and she said that this is something that she struggled with, and I unfortunately couldn't make it. But it's like, don't see your past as an emergency source of income. If it was something that was detrimental, like if you were selling drugs, or if you were like reckless as a club promoter, I could call up my boy and be like, let's get this stuff cracking again. If I need one, if I still lived in the Bay Area. If you were like a stripper, I'm gonna go back, start dancing, or OnlyFans or something like that. I'm gonna start go back to OnlyFans. It's just like, I think that's one of the things that's really detrimental to maintaining any place you've gone, any footing that you've gone into a positive future, is that you see that it's somewhere in your mind that I could always go back to that if necessary in emerging. That means you completely haven't divested from it, and you just opening the seeds that all of this stuff that you're trying to escape from can come right back, smack you in the face.
I 100% agree with that. 100%. But like somebody said, when the mortgage market, I've been doing this 26 years with mortgage, right? Took a tank, recently, and they're like, you could always go bartend. And I said, look, my energy is not bartending. I've nothing wrong with bartending. I mean, crap ton of money, right? It has nothing to do with you can control or not control the lifestyle, right? It's a mindset of how you keep leveling up. I said, I can't
exactly
put my mind back there because that's not where I want to be, right? But I love a different part of that life, which is why I do all the MMA stuff. I'm recreating a merchandise line, growing the network, doing my podcast. So it's a dip into that life that's going where I want to go, right? And so I agree with you 100% on that. I think it's very easy. I've done it before, back when the mortgage crashed in 2008, right? I mean, that was bad. That was really bad. And, I had bartend this and that, and it just brought me back to a different place in my head. And I'm like, hold on, I got to get out of here because this isn't my trajectory of what I want.
Yep. I think a lot of people fall in that, have that mind state. And I think it's just so detrimental because it just can sidetrack all or derail all of the work you've done to, like, if you think, oh, I could just do it for this thing, but then everything's become easy, and it reminds you how easy things have come, and it just becomes, you start to lose yourself in it. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with when they try to make any type of long-term changes or what have you.
What is that saying? You take 2 steps forward and how many back?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I want to shout out to somebody. Miss Lucky Maria is in the building. Hey, Lucky. I was on her podcast a couple of days ago. She is a very, very dope host, and she's one of the people I said she's a true professional in a game of talented amateurs. So
I saw that podcast I was on. That was a good podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull you on mine.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to be on. I love it. I love going on.
Mine's wild.
Yeah. Will's Saturday is pretty wild too.
Yeah,
Saturday.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely bring us on. But Dame, I wanted to touch on this point.
Yeah.
I think this was honestly my biggest struggle. You know, don't look at your past. Because when I was talking about, I was at that crossroads.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what I should do at life. I didn't really have that defined. I wasn't really a school person. So when I was like at that moment, like I said, I came out the military and then I'm like, damn, what do I do now? I know I don't want to go back in the military. You know, I'm like, dang, I could go back, you know, and link up with some friends and stuff. I know how to do that lane. So, you know, that was probably my biggest struggle. But like you said, it's just like, it's a very short-term goal and people get caught up in that and it never ends well. So yeah, I'm glad I chose the path of like, you know what? I think Jessica was even touching on that, just was hitting on it where it was just like, look, level up. Then when you go through that process, you know, you start coming across people that, you know, you could find other lanes and stuff. And I think we were even talking about that last Thursday, Dame, where we were talking about like, everybody thinks the path is going to be linear, but when you start going on that path of like positivity, you know, you start meeting different people, you start getting in different lanes and stuff, you start elevating. So definitely glad I chose that path. But yeah, that was my biggest struggle, honestly, right here.
I mean, because it's just so hard, and people will gladly welcome you back into it. It's like nobody's gonna be like, oh no. They be like, come on in, especially if you were the fun guy, you know. I just want to say, like,
even when we were talking about the pictures and stuff. Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I just want to say, hey, what's up to Fantasy Island Girl? What's up, Fig? I appreciate you coming through. This is, regardless, she is one of the people that I really like rocking out with on a podcast. As wild as she could get, she is honest and she is intelligent, which makes her dangerous. So I appreciate her. All right,
Fantasy Island was giving you that work.
I love going back with people like that who are intelligent as well as honest. So yeah, she's dope. All right, so I'm sorry. Go ahead, go ahead, keep talking.
No, that's my fault, man. Sorry about that. But I was just gonna say, you're right. People make it hard too, because you know everybody's calling like, "Hey, man, we're doing this. You're missing out." You know, they showing you pictures of like going out, hanging out, buying stuff. So yeah, they definitely try to like pull you back in and stuff. You know, make it easy and stuff. But yeah, you just got to detach, keep it moving forward. As hard as that path might be, is
Yep. Well, that's it. That we've each reached the end of my show. I don't like to do these 3-hour ones because I don't like hearing myself talk that long.
By midnight, yay!
You know,
I have a 5:30 a.m. gym time.
Okay,
thank
cool. You be outside. So what I want to do is I want to give the ladies opportunity to say anything they want to say and tell the people how to get in touch with you, some of your socials or what have you. So I'll start with you, Nikki.
Always with me. Okay, so Miss True Instagram. Well, I just dread being first. So Miss True Instagram. You could look there. You can find me there. And what a great podcast. What a great experience this has been. I love the whole panel. And I mean, honestly, has inspired me for some other things that I might not mention tonight. But thank you, everybody. Again, Miss True and MSTRUE. Good night.
Thank you so much. Actually, you know what? Hold on.
Wait a
1
minute.
second. Wait
Why?
a minute now. That's not how we rock here. When you give your stuff, we show love up in here.
Thank you.
All right, Jessica, you're up.
Yay. Damien, first of all, thank you for having me. I was
My pleasure.
touched that you reached out. We were on the podcast before, so it made me feel like I did a good job on that one. And Manic, you were on there as well. So it's been a pleasure seeing you all again and meeting everybody. Tribe Called Jess, JESS, just like Tribe Called Quest. That's why I named it that. It's on the Wild Style Network. So if you're on YouTube, it's WYLDE, tribecalledjess.com. We're on every app you can think of where you get your podcast. We go live every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I put all my socials in the chat. Please follow. I would love to keep in touch. Love to have you guys guest. I love what I do. I'm a little crazy, but we always reel it in. And I will be talking about Paula, Will, and Damien briefly because I went and kind of wheeled you into the subject for this week, the serious subject. And of course, we'll end with a wild, crazy subject because that's what I do.
If you want me to come on, just hit me. What's called, I'll be there.
I definitely will. I would love to have you guys all on. I mean, just be prepared.
Always. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
There you go. I will leave that real quick final thought was I think you can have fun no matter what you do once you're in a good place of grounding, right? It doesn't have to be habitual. You can still go do those things without habit if you're surrounded by the right people, right?
I agree.
And I always tell people, women kind of criticize me and they'll be like, you go out to a club still and you're 49. And I'm like, you're drunk at a winery at 6. What's the difference, right? Well, I said it on my show. I mean, when you're going to be a hypocrite, you're going home to your kids. Mine was at his grandma's and I was picking him up the next day and he didn't even know I was gone. Right. So my point is don't judge other people's fun. Be grounded in yourself, hang out with good sorts, and you'll be just fine.
Good job. Let me go ahead and give you some love too.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I followed you, Manic, and I'll follow you, True.
Sorry, it's going Mize
Are you apologizing to me?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
You can find me on Instagram at my_world1203 or the Wonderland Effect on YouTube. We do air every Monday. So, yep, that's where you can find me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping on. Go ahead, Manic.
I'll just say thank you for having me as a guest or a panelist on the Can I Get Some podcast network. We definitely got to do more of this. This was a very interesting topic and a chance to go down memory lane and talk about just the growth and the transformation. So I enjoyed hearing everybody's stories and experiences, and I genuinely appreciate everybody here. So if you guys have any panels, let me know. DM me. I'm always on IG. So I'll be more than willing to be a guest. And we have the Jerk and I have the Manic Sophistication page. We've been kind of like taking a little bit of a break, but we will be doing more panel work in the near future.
What is it?
The YouTube page is Manic Sophistication. I'll put it in the back chat. But you can always find me on IG at the Manic Genius. I put that in the back.
Yeah, I followed that. Okay.
Cool.
All right, Jerk, go ahead.
All right, first, man, welcome back, Dame. You definitely do some great shows, great topics, great people that you pull together. So I love the conversation. I'm glad more podcasts is starting to pop up. Even Lucky Marie, she has a great podcast. So I'm starting to see these, where people can have great conversations and stuff. So I'm definitely liking that. And like I said, definitely if any of y'all have anything, reach out to us and we'll definitely pull up. But shout out to the OG Dame again. And y'all can follow us on Manic Sophistication. But one thing I would just like to say to everybody, parting words, don't pay the $2,000. That hurt my soul when Dame did that, you know. I mean, I understand the concept. I've definitely learned. I got some work to do, but he could have just wrote a letter or something.
Heartfelt apology. To them.
But yeah, that's it, man.
Appreciate you. All right. In closing, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out. I know it's been a while since I've done that, so I got to knock the dust off some stuff, refine everything. It's getting better. I think I'm going to try to do it more consistently every Tuesday, 9 o'clock. Anybody, if you guys want to come back on, you're more than welcome. We're going to have a different subject. Next week's subject is going to be effective communications. We're getting tired of he said, she said type of communication. It doesn't work when it comes to relationships. We want to think, how can you be effectively communicate with your partner in order to make sure you avoid any type of miscommunication and missed opportunities to really connect. So that's going to be the next subject next Tuesday at 9 o'clock. And I want to end this. I almost did this at the beginning, but I decided to do it at the end so we can have some fun. Yeah. This show is dedicated to a very, very special person. If anybody who's watching this or watching it on a replay saw any of my past content, I always had pretty much the same group of people on there. And one of the people there was this amazing, vivacious blonde woman named Amy Johnson. She was always funny, insightful. She'd bring her husband on. She was raunchy. I've known her since we were in the military in Hawaii together. She was just always just a dope person, and I enjoyed having her. She was not just a panelist; she was actually a friend of mine, and she recently passed from cancer, a few weeks ago. Very young, only 47 years old. Went into the hospital feeling fatigued and with a cough, and we put her in the ground 66 days later. So I just want to say, value the people that you care about, take care of your health, and make sure that you show appreciation for every day that you've given. But like I said, I want to make sure that if her husband Jerry, I know he watches some of the other on the replay. Jerry, if you're there, Jordan, her daughter, if you're there, your mother was an amazing person that's really going to be missed and was really a valuable part of my show. So thank you so much. And that's why I did at the end, because I didn't want to get all emotional and stuff like that, because it meant a lot. I wanted to she was always like, even when I take these breaks, she was always like, you need to get back into it. And that's one of the things she did say to me prior to her passing. So yeah, that's what it is. So like I said, you can catch us every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. New topics. Hopefully, I can see some of these familiar faces. If you guys have the time to come on, I'd be more than happy to have you. But yeah, we are out, and I appreciate all of you. Definitely.